Thank you to Blackology Coffee Company for sponsoring this video. Take 10% off your next order at Blackology Coffee Company by using the link in the description, www.blackologycoffeecompany.com/Angela.
Well, thank you for taking time from, being the rock and speaking with me.
I still can't believe people still remember me doing those kind of things. So it's very good that people are still remind me about that, or remember me as that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, they also remember you as the beer guy who has done some incredible collaborations with Stouts and Cahaba Valley Beer Company, all these type of things. So tell me how you guys started doing beer collaborations since you don't have your own brewery.
Yeah, so pretty much the way that it starts out for me was the fact that it was literally just kind of started off with how I got into getting to beer and whatnot. It just got more just started as a hobby than anything else. And then once I really got into it and really started thinking of it, trying to be more of an actual business or just trying to make it into a career, something that I want to be able to do as a job or whatnot, I was like, okay, cool. So that's when this started. And going into the whole collaborations, it's literally just sitting down there one day. I was like, I want to be able to have my own beer. Say, have something that I would actually start from beginning to end, and just say that I've been able just to, put out there for people to try, good or bad. So I reached out to Good People, which is a local brewery here, and reached out to them. I was like, hey, would y'all be interested in doing collaboration? Told them what I was doing, everything like that. And then from there, it just went on to being to a point to where they was like, yeah, let's do this. And we did our first collaboration, which is the Fudge Brownie Stout. And from there, it just blew up to where people was like, when are you doing the next one? And I'm just kind of like, okay, this is, got some traction right now. So let's see how, and we did the second one, then the third one. Now I'm working on the fourth one pretty soon and whatnot. So just like literally, and it's a lot of fun on my end, but then there's also still that message to let people know like, hey, there's somebody that looks like this that can be able to brew stuff, because you don't get to see a lot of us do that kind of stuff as it is anyway. So it's kind of cool to just be able to have that moment, be able to make that happen and whatnot.
Yeah. And so you still have a day job, to my understanding, at Hop City, is that right?
That is correct. I pretty much am the social media manager here, but then also the assistant keg manager here as well. So been here for the last a little over 3 years now.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been enjoying it. Like pretty much like my favorite job that I've had so far.
Yeah. So how has being in that job allowed you to learn more about like different types of breweries, different types of beers, different types of ways to make a beer and add flavors to beer, and giving you ideas and inspiration for the beers and collaboration that you've done so far?
Well, that's a good thing about it, because the way that Hop City is pretty much like a Willy Wonka of beer and whatnot. So literally we have so many different beers from all across the state, all across the country, all across the world, to where literally you can come in and get a 6-pack, you can get a 12-pack, but then you just want to get like a single bottle or can, you can be able to just do that. And not only that, we have 66 beers on draft. So there's so much beer that we're able to try out. Like literally the world is our oyster at this point, because like a new brewer would come in, like, whenever they decide to come in, and we get to try their stuff, or somebody local might come out with a brand new beer, and those kind of things. It just makes it to where you get to enjoy so many different kind of things, and you get to learn not only just the styles that you love, but then you learn about something that you might not have heard about, like a grisette. Not a lot of people heard those, but when you see it, it's kind of like, I want to be able to try that out. And then you get to try it and you're like, oh, it's kind of like a Saison, or it's like, but just a little bit lighter and a little bit easier drinking and whatnot. So there's so many different things that's out there that I think it just makes it fun to be able to work here. And it's never a dull day. It's never just, I'm just going to come in and just work. There's always like a new beer that we're going to be trying out or enjoying and whatnot. And it's fun. It's a fun job. It's a hard working job, but I love it.
Yeah. So what do you think that beard black man, and I'm sure you've heard of beard black chick, so there's like, there's a lot of diversity being added to the beer culture, to the beer scene, to the beer industry in the South and all over the US. So how do you feel like you fit into that culture? What have you learned about black brewers, black breweries, black beer lovers? Like, what have you learned since being in this space and being more out and more open doing these collaborations?
For me, it's just being able to see like how, like, there's just the fact that letting people know that, hey, there are people out there, and there are people that, you know, that are representing it really, really hard and doing an amazing job. The fact of the matter is they don't have that voice. They don't have that outlet to be able to do that kind of stuff. And a lot of times, you know, especially like when you're a brewer, yeah, you don't get those kind of notoriety as it is anyway. But especially when you have people of color that's a part of it, you know, black people particularly, it's kind of hard just because, you know, as Tia always talks about with Crowns and Hops, talking about like there's only 1% of people that, you know, that own breweries that are, you know, people of color, that are black. So just think about like, you know, once you get into like being like a black male, it's like here, but then when you're a black woman, here, and then it just keeps on getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So having those chances where I could be able to meet up with people like Black Beer Chick or Afro Beer Chick or Brewed Black Girl or Uncap Everything, Pastor Hops, Black Beer Travelers, everybody. There's so many different people that's out there. Tia and Benny with Crowns and Hops. I mean, there's so many people that are doing such an amazing job and putting their name out there, but then also passing that message along to let people know that it's not as one-sided as you think. There's a lot of people that are out there that knows what they're talking about and that want to be able to spread that message to everybody. And it's been building a lot more lately that I've seen it in a long time. I mean, even just here in Birmingham, I'm seeing a lot more people trying to do their own social media platform to try to do the exact same thing, trying to get their message out there and whatnot. And that's the thing about it. We're not trying to tell anybody that this is only for one person. We're trying to let people know that this is for everybody. Anybody that wants to be a part of it, you can be a part of it. And I just think that that chance has never been more talked about than now. So it's just those kind of things where it's going to be, again, it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be taking a little bit of time, but I would rather have that slow moment than just be kind of more of a like a, and then all of a sudden it just fades away and then nothing really comes about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you talked about, you know, all these people by their monikers. Obviously they have real names. Like your real name is Ralph. It's not Black Beard Man. You know? But again, it's the power of social media. Like regardless of whatever their real name is, because you keep seeing, you know, Afro Beer Chick, Black Beer Chick, all these things. Like this is what you associate with them. So tell me about how the power of social media has worked in your favor once you started Black Beard Man and started doing these collaborations. Because there's people that obviously didn't know who you were before the collaborations, but now you're all they talk about. They can't wait for your next collaboration here.
Yeah, so pretty much like literally, social media has always been something that I've always been a part of as it is anyway. Like pretty much when, you know, when the internet became a thing, I was always very a part of it. Then you have, you know, like stuff like America Online Instant Messenger or Yahoo Messenger, all those kind of things. And I was a part of that, you know. So it's just, social media has always been a part of my life. And then once I became, you know, started to do everything with Beer Black Man, it was because it got to the point where I was just like, I need to have that platform. And then Instagram was pretty much that way that I was already doing it beforehand when I was just doing it on my personal side. So I was just like, why not use Instagram? Make that because you can tell a story through a picture and then be able to tell and then elaborate in the captions a lot more into that. So it just gets to make it to where social media has definitely helped me out in just putting more of it. And especially with Instagram having the stories, I can be able to showcase, instead of just having, you know, pictures or having like a quick little video, I can be able to just showcase what I'm going through that whole day in like little itty bitty segments and whatnot. And then you got Instagram Live that comes around. And then you can be able to just have that moment and then be able to have interviews with the brewer that you're brewing with, or be able to talk with one of the bartenders and whatnot, or even just be able to try the beers out at the brewery and whatnot. So it's just one of those things where I get to engage with the people while I'm there. But then also, if they want to be able to see what I was doing like 2 weeks ago when I went to, say, New Belgium over in Colorado, I could be able to have those moments, and just the whole part of it, just being able just to bring more connection, I guess, in a sense and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the community that you've kind of grown around, not just like Black Beer Man, but just around beer itself. So the curiosity that people have, you can kind of react to that and engage with that and kind of see what they're liking in that season or in that moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just because I want to be able to put, I want to be able to showcase the beer that's going on. I want to be able to let people know like all about these different kinds of beers, but I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be able to bring my own personal thing. So I might be, doing the rock stuff in one of my videos or in one of my pictures. I might, wear my luchador mask in one of the pictures and whatnot. I want to be able to showcase, music that I might be listening to, or have that be a part of it. My love for, football, UAB football here in Birmingham, and have that be a thing and whatnot. So I just don't want it to be just where it's all, seriousness. I want to be able to still make it to where it's fun and, interesting. So that way people are not just thinking that it's just, I'm just drinking just to drink. I'm drinking this because there's always a story behind that drink as well.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of the collaborations that you've made, so you drink a lot of different beer, obviously, but a lot of the collaborations that you've done with Cahaba, with Good People, they've been stout based, right? So tell me your affinity for stouts and how a lot of these drinks have come about. Like, what has been your inspiration for these kind of, in my opinion, thicker beers, but, somebody might agree and disagree.
Yeah, so pretty much like the whole thing with the first one I did with Good People, that one was in honor of my late great grandmother. And pretty much we always did brownies together. So when I decided to do my first beer, I was like, whenever I do that, no matter if it's a homebrew or a collaboration, it's going to be in honor of her. So when I did that, that's why it came out to be the Imperial Brownie Stout. And it was pretty much just the whole idea of having that same feel that you would get when you're eating a brownie, but then have that in a beer. So get those same kind of aromas, get those same kind of flavors and everything like that. And it turned out really, really good. It was an 8.5 ABV beer. And that was the main thing I told the brewer. I wanted to be able to where you can still have fun in a sense, but you still get the flavor that's supposed to be there. I want the beer to shine. I don't want the alcohol to shine. And we came into where it was 8.5, and then it worked out into that favor. And then from there, it just kind of went on where I went to do with Cahaba, with the horchata stout. I want to be able to do something that you don't see too often. And then a lot of people have probably heard about horchata, but then what's really in a horchata. So just kind of bringing those kind of things in and just be able to to change people's ideas about certain beers and whatnot, because that horchata one was only 4.5%. So that one wasn't even that bad. And it was still so much flavor, light, easier drinking. And a lot of people, like we were saying earlier, a lot of people think of the stouts or the porters being thicker, heavier, and they can be. But I wanted to showcase to where they can let people know, like, hey, this is still just as easy drinking as like a Pilsner that you can probably get. It will just have a little more flavor, but it's really, really good. So everybody knows me for the stouts. But then when I did my third one with Birmingham District, the Sucker Punch, I wanted to have that idea. I was like, I want to go somewhere different. I know everybody knows me for the darker beers. Let's go for a sour. Let's try to change it up. See what, see how I can do. Let's see if I can evolve and change. And that one was a tropical Bavarian Weiss that had a whole bunch of different kind of fruits in it. My whole idea was I wanted to be able to have a drink that tasted like red Kool-Aid, but then also would be able to energize you. So kind of have like electrolytes, like you would get in Gatorade or Powerade. And what we did with that is get that same feel. We use pink Himalayan sea salt. So that way when you drink it, it would still be a lot of flavor. It would still be tasting like beer. But then if you were be able to drink it here on like a hot Birmingham day, it wouldn't feel like you're being bogged down. If anything, you're able to even move even faster than you were before. So it's just those kind of things. Like I want to be able to, again, bring myself into the beer, bring my stories and whatnot. So that way there might be a story that somebody else will talk about or be able to bring about. And that's the whole thing about with beer. It's pretty much a connection. It's a way to connect people together, and you can be able to tell your stories, no matter if you're from, like one of the richest parts of the town to where you're probably in one of the hardest, in the not so greatest part of town. But you can be able to still be able to connect in some way, shape, or form and be able to talk about it. And that's what I love about it, because you can see so many different people from so many different creeds or genres or whatever you want to call it. And it just makes it so awesome to be able to have those kind of things.
Yeah. I'm like getting jealous of the Sucker Punch, because I remember hearing about that. But Birmingham District Brewing came to Birmingham after I left. And I love sour beer. So I'm so jealous right now that I didn't get to try that.
Well, we're planning on doing another batch this year. So whenever that comes around, I'll let you know about that. So that way, you can come around and try it out, because it was a really popular one, and I was very happy about it. I was really, really happy at what we did.
Yeah. Obviously, it's coming back. So clearly, I'm not the only one who loves a good sour beer in the summer. So. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and talking to me about all things beer and how you've been able to navigate this business as like a solo beer lover who just kind of put his story out there and been vulnerable in his work. So thank you so much for that.
Hey, appreciate you. Really do appreciate the time.
Yes. Everybody watching this, when he leaves, he may or may not turn into The Rock, but it's okay. It's okay. He's still. You
might be seeing me on some of my TikToks here and there to be able to do that kind of stuff. So see those kind of things, and every so often you might see it on my Instagram, Beer Black Band and everything like that. So it's always a good time, no matter what. Like I said, I like to have fun, so that's the main thing about it.
Yeah. Thank you so much again, Ralph.